This morning we found ourselves in Zimbabwe at the Vic Falls rest camp in the Vic Falls village, right on the edge of Victoria Falls. Yesterday was a very exciting, with 4 border crossings plus the falls, but also a very mentally draining day. So we crashed last night, and we're planning to get up at like 7 o'clock this morning, which is pretty late compared to what we've done over the last week and a bit. But we were awoken rudely just after 6 with the sound of baboons raiding all our stuff, and I looked out the tent window to see a baboon running off with our whole supply of rusks for the whole trip. So that's pretty sad, but we're up now. We're gonna make some coffee. Sun is just rising there behind us, although it's hard to see through the haze, and yeah, we'll probably get going soon. Not sure quite what we'll do today, but I think we'll be spontaneous and make plans as we go.
With the knowledge that we'll be heading deep into remote Botswana later today, we take some time to do some last-minute research and preparation. These books by Tracks for Africa are extremely helpful. Today's drive will take us a little under 200 kilometers in a westerly direction, with a border crossing from Zimbabwe into Botswana, with our final destination being a bush camp near the Chobe Forest Reserve. But first, we have unfinished business in Zim. So we're just checking out of our campsite area, and in a few hours we'll be heading towards the Botswana again. But we got one more thing to do in Zimbabwe. We're going to the Zimbabwean side of Vic Falls, and we're going to go take a walk around, see the falls from a different angle, see if we can do that. We had of course already had the privilege of seeing the majestic Victoria Falls from the Zambian side the evening before, but the Zimbabwean side is supposed to give an even better view of the falls themselves, so we were pretty excited to get a new perspective. We followed the pathway closer as the roar of the water grew even more intense, and suddenly there it was. The Zimbabwean side gives you the unique opportunity to walk hundreds of meters along the opposite edge of the falls and get an up-close view of every section. We started on the western side, where the full force of the Zambezi River tumbles down in a narrow stream to create the Devil's Cataract. This was my favorite part of the falls, without a doubt. It almost looks like someone decided to pour out the world's biggest bucket of liquid nitrogen, with a permanent cloud of mist billowing out from the base 365 days a year. There are a number of viewpoints from which you can see the Devil's Cataract and Cataract Island from different perspectives, and a little further on we catch our first glimpse of the main falls. The main falls are a portion of the falls that always flows in a continuous sheet of water throughout the dry season and the wet season. In the wet season, the entire length of this cliffside becomes a continuous sheet, which is obviously a spectacular scene to witness. But the risk, of course, is that there's so much spray kicked up that you can lose sight of the opposite side. On the eastern side of the main falls lies Livingston Island, where you'll often find people taking a swim right on the edge of the falls. If you're mad enough to try this, I'd suggest doing it in the dry season. With the water running down like this constantly, it's like 24/7 rain. So despite the fact that this part of the world is not known for rainforests, we have a proper rainforest right here, which I think is quite cool. It also helps to cool us down a little bit. It's like a natural air conditioner, so we're not complaining. If you had to ask me what took me by surprise at Victoria Falls, I would have to say the rainforest. It was very strange to find ourselves in the middle of such dense vegetation with constant rain falling all around us, and even better to catch glimpses of the falls through the trees as we walked along the path. And then out of nowhere, the forest disappears and we find ourselves in open grassland, with another stunning section of the falls right across from us. Here we get a nice view of the people leaning over the edge at Livingston Island and an abundance of wild animals grazing on the grass. If I was a warthog, I would probably want to live here. Based on the insane number of tourists here, I'd assume that the Zimbabwean side sees far more visitors than the Zambian side. But if I were to come all the way out here from another country, I would most certainly want to do both, as each side does give a totally different perspective. Talking about the Zambian side, we do eventually arrive at the eastern edge of the Zimbabwean side, with the boiling pot below us, and Danger Point, where we'd stood the evening before, just across the gorge from us in Zambia. There's a section of rapids below the boiling pot which is really popular for whitewater kayaking. In fact, whitewater rafting and kayaking on the Zambezi just below the falls is really popular, and there are quite a few great documentaries on Red Bull TV showing just how intense this can get. But needing to get on the road soon, we start to make our way back towards the vehicles as we bid farewell to the warthogs and pass once again through the rainforest. A quick takeaway coffee at the Little Monkey, and it's right back on the highway. We have left Vic Falls village and we are heading towards the Zimbabwe-Botswana border once again. Hopefully it's smooth and we don't have any issues along the way, but once we're through, we'll make a quick stop at the town of Kasane in Botswana and stock up on some food and some fuel, and then for the next few days we're going to be in some proper wilderness. So the tar road and town life stage of this tour is over. No more eating at restaurants for the rest of the trip. We're roughing it from here on. Should be interesting. So warthogs again. With the border post up ahead, we wave goodbye to Zimbabwe and say hello once again to Botswana. As much as we enjoyed our adventures in Zim and Zambia, there's something really comforting about Botswana for some reason. Well, we just went through the border posts again, and wow, today was so much easier and quicker and had no hassles. Everyone was friendly. So weird. I think maybe because it's the morning and people aren't tired and burned out from their long shifts. But yeah, everything went smoothly. So we are in Botswana once again, and we will be in Botswana until basically the very last leg of our trip, where we head home, long journey home through the border and all the way through South Africa again. So great to be back in this beautiful country, and I think we're going to experience the very best of it over the next few days. Next up, shopping in Kasane. Kasane is one of the more developed towns in the region, and we take the opportunity to stock up on food and supplies at a local spa. We may even have snuck in a sneaky Nando's meal. We couldn't resist the allure of one more tasty meal before our deep dive into the remote wilderness of Botswana's national parks. Travelling west from Kasane, we find ourselves passing through the Chobe National Park once again, an iconic part of Botswana that we wished we'd had more time to explore. Although we won't be staying in the Chobe on this trip, we did manage to get something out of our brief transit, as we find ourselves stopping for pedestrians. The best part about driving on a public road through a national park is that you don't pay park entrance. You just drive through and you get to see some cool stuff on the way. After exiting the national park, we find ourselves cruising along the amazing Chobe River Basin, with massive expanses of wetland stretching out in front of us and an abundance of animals. There are a few settlements along the river, and so the cows roam freely, but they mingle in with impala, wildebeest, lechwe and many other wild animals. I don't think we need to air down yet. We are pretty close to camp, but just switch to 4x4, I guess.
Nick, are we overlooking the Chobe, or are we a bush light on the left?
It's on the right. We're overlooking like a swamp, but it's not. We've already moved quite far from the Chobe.
Okay, cool.
Yes, this is the Botswana we were waiting for.
So we've officially gone off the tar road and onto some soft sand, and I think we're going to be like this for, well, the next few days. So time to air down. I thought we'd get to the place without having to do so, but the sand's getting pretty soft, so we might as well do it now.
We won't be airing up for the next few days, and with the endless kilometers of soft 4x4 tracks ahead, we're all super excited to finally be using our vehicles for what they were truly made for. Over the next few days, we'll be slowly chugging through kilometre after kilometre of wild Botswana bushveld, with no fences, no settlements, and no protection whatsoever. If the animal tracks crisscrossing through the bush are anything to go by, we're in for a treat. We see the Legend 45 stopping behind us, and thankfully it's not too serious, just a stick lodged in the suspension. A little bit of elbow grease gets it dislodged, and we're soon on our way again. Baobab marks the entrance to our rest spot for the night, Thobolo's bush camp, and after another eventful evening, we're finally here. Something tells me that we're gonna like this place. We've still got some time before sunset, so instead of rushing to set up camp, we make our way up to the viewing deck and are able to relax for the first time today as we watch the animals coming into the pan below. There's a board here telling us what had been spotted during the day, and just inside, a bar with an honesty box. Take what you want, start your own tab, and then pay up when you're done. I chose a Botswanan beer, a refreshing introduction to this incredible country. With the sun moving low on the horizon, we make our way towards the camp spot and start to get everything set up. Tonight we'd be camping out in the open with no fences between us and the wildlife, so we'd soon be finding out just how much protection the ground tents really offer. So tonight we are camping in true Botswana style, out in a bush camp with absolutely no fences or protection from animals. That's really the great thing about Botswana, is that in all these big parks and everything, there's just nothing holding the animals in or out. I mean, today we drove through a park and there were elephants just crossing the main road, and we didn't go through any game fences, so it's really a true African experience.
It wasn't like that in Namibia, it's not like that in South Africa, so this is going to be special. Tonight at Thobolo's bush lodge, or bush camp rather, we are told that there are buffalo and elephants that come at like almost 7 p.m. every night, start coming through here, so we're hoping to have some good animal sightings tonight. It'll be awesome to sit by the fire and see some proper big 5 animals strolling right up to us, but let's see what happens. So it's about 7 o'clock, right on par when the people at the guest lodge said that the elephants would come in, and we have a clear view of the elephants drinking at the water hole. I would guess maybe about close to 100, so it's a great sighting for us. One thing I was blown away by earlier today was how cheap meat is here in Botswana. We managed to get 2 rump steaks for a total of 25 pula. That's like, I'm trying to think of the dollar conversion, it's about $1.5 to $1.7. That's insane, so cheap. So we'll be enjoying this. We've just put them in here to marinate for a bit, so shake them around, get that marinade in, and have some marinated steaks tonight, so looking forward to that.
As we head to bed, we're grateful to be up in the rooftop tent out of buffalo reach, but if there were buffaloes in the camp, I doubt any of us would have even known because we were out cold as soon as our heads hit the pillows. In the next episode, we'll be traveling south towards the iconic Okavango Delta, passing through Savuti, facing some challenges along the way, and eventually ending up at Kwai, where we'd have some real animal encounters. Make sure to subscribe to see more, and we'll see you then.